What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to say if you're someone that you enjoy those legends of the game, guys from the 60s through the early 2000s, or maybe if you're someone that you're younger and you would like to get an idea of some of those legends from the past, then this is definitely the channel for you guys because that's literally all I focus on. So, I would definitely recommend subscribing to the channel. And also, if you could posterize that like button, I would greatly appreciate that as well. But with that being said, guys, let's get into today's video. So Bill Russell, he's one of those guys that I wouldn't necessarily say that he's underrated. I would say that he's undervalued, and that's just because I feel like in the modern NBA, defense isn't valued quite the way that it used to be, or as much as it used to be. You know, when you look at, when I think of defensive players, in the league, right? Um, there's three guys that really come to mind right off the top of my head. Talking about today, um, and while a couple of them do get a tremendous amount of respect, there are others that they don't necessarily get the respect that they should get for their defensive ability. Um, but when you think about it, like if you ask someone, who's your top five? Who do you feel that is the top five players in today's NBA? Um, Names that you'll see a lot of are like KD, Westbrook. You'll see a lot of LeBron. You'll see, a lot of Harden. You'll see, a lot of Luca. Guys like that. And while don't get me wrong, all of those guys are really good, but I feel like the Greek Freak and Kawhi are, especially when Kawhi is 100% and he's healthy. I feel like those two guys are as good as anyone else in the league, right? Um, and it's just because they play both ends of the floor really, really well, and that's not taking anything away from those other guys. It's just I'm just looking at it from the perspective that you know I I understand that there's more to the game than just the offensive end, right? Defense and being good defensively is also very important, and that's why I feel like you know because the way the younger fans rank players, you can kind of tell that they don't really value the defense the way that someone like myself, um, the way that I value defense. So I feel like in that aspect, Bill Russell, he is a bit undervalued by some of the younger fans of today. But with that being said, guys, let's get into this build. And of course, I mean, with doing a Bill Russell build, right? You're going to do pure red. Um, and because you're going to be a defensive center, you're in your center. You want to do vertical and strength. You don't really need to worry too much about speed because the speed you're going to get that when you bring the height and the weight down to what you know essentially the height that Russell played at. So this is what we're going to do, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this on the defense, and I'm going to do lateral quickness, and I'm going to do interior defense. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. This is the way I want to do this, right? And I think once I do it this way, I think if I remember right when I did the build initially this way, I think I had like 11 left. Okay. So you could do the build this way, guys, if you wanted to. Um, you know, the way that I did this build is this is the way that I did it, and it's just to get that extra finishing badge. You get a couple extra, I believe. Yeah, you get 15 by doing this. Even though with this build you're not going to be doing a driving layup and a driving dunk a lot. I still felt like it should be here. Now, if you're someone, I mean, if you want to put that on perimeter defense and steal, by all means, you certainly could. But I feel like with 30 defensive badges, you're good already. You shouldn't really need a whole lot more. But having those 15 finishing is going to help you out a great deal. And if you're someone you want to put something on your shot, guys, you can certainly take away from something and do that. I just feel like if you're doing a Bill Russell build, this is probably the way you want to do it, right? I know I initially put it on post fade, and I'm not even sure why I did that, because I hadn't did that at any point on any of these builds to do this. But this right here is the way that I feel like is the best way to do this build, right? Because you've got 15 finishing, you've only got the 1 shooting, you've got 2 playmaking, and then 30 in defensive and rebounding badges. So now for his build, you could definitely do built your 6'10", and I think he was listed at 215. It was his listed weight. And if you look now, guys, with doing this, okay. So if we look at where we're at, okay, so you know that you're going to get a +4 to everything on the left. So all your attributes. So you're going to have a close shot of 90 with a driving layup of 64, driving dunk of 87, standing dunk of 99 with the post hook of 71. So around the basket, guys, you're going to be able to do really, really well with this build. You're not going to have any problems. You're going to have a really good, pass accuracy at 70 with the ball handling of 55. So you'll do all right there with the post control of 66. The reason I did the playmaking, guys, is just to get those 2 playmaking badges, right? That's really the only thing. Because on this build, you don't want shooting. And, the perimeter defense and the steal is really not needed for this build. So I just put it there just to more or less get those 2 playmaking badges. You're going to have an interior defense of 85, perimeter defense of 57. Lateral quickness, guys, is going to be a 79, which for a center, that's going to be very, very good. You're going to have a steal of 57 and block, offensive, and defensive rebounding of 99. So you're going to be a very, very good defensive lockdown center. And if you look over, guys, at your physicals, you're going to get essentially +8 to everything. So if you look at that, guys, you're going to have a speed of 75, which for a center, that's very good. You're going to have a strength of 78, which is going to be very good as well. You're going to have an acceleration of 73, which is good. And guys, look at that vertical, a vertical of 92. So you're going to be able to get those blocks and things. Now, guys, for this build, you could really go either one of these 2 ways. I just feel like Glass Cleaner is, based on, me using it, I feel like Glass Cleaner is just a better takeover. But that's just me personally. And look at that, guys. You got a glass cleaning lockdown with shades of, and look at the very first one, Bill Russell. So yeah, I mean, you can't get any better than that. This is a really good Russell build. This is a lot like Bill Russell. And look at the other 2 guys there, Clint Capella and Rudy Gobert, 2 of the better defensive centers in the league today. And those are 2 other guys, especially Gobert. Rudy just, he's a defensive player of the year winner, and he just doesn't get any of the, the respect or anything for that, right? So, okay, guys. So for our finishing badges, for me personally, with the build like this is the way I like to do it. Okay, rise up. You can do post spin tech. You could do unstrippable or anything. Whichever you prefer to do. And you could do mouse in the house. That's a good one for a big man as well. I like to do Lob City finisher myself. I think that's a good one. You could do hook specialist if you wanted to. I like Grace under pressure. Um, you could do putback boss as well. Um, but I like fast twitch, and you could do back down Punisher. But the one that I like, guys, is I really like putback boss because I like to go in for those offensive rebounds and get putbacks and things. So, but I mean, like I said, the ones that I've given you guys, you could go with those as well. I just feel like with the build, a Bill Russell build, I feel like these work really really well for you because you get those putbacks on those offensive rebounds. You're gonna because of your speed, you're gonna be able to get lobs and things with this build, guys. So I feel like Lob City Finisher's a really good one. Fast twitch, guys, it speeds up your standing layups or dunks. So that just makes sense if you get an offensive rebound and you go back up with it. You want to get that back up as quickly as possible. Rise up because it makes it easier to dunk when you're under the basket. And then Grace under pressure, it just boosts the effectiveness on standing shots under or near the basket. So I feel like, with this build, that's the way you're going to be playing it. You're going to be around the basket at all times. So I feel like those, really complement this build really, really well. Now for your one shooting badge, guys, you could do a couple of things. You could do Hot Zone Hunter if you wanted to. Now, me personally, this is the one that I'm using on this type of build is Slippery Off Ball, and that's simply because I use this build to get offensive rebounds. And if you're able to move and things, against the defense easily, it really helps you in getting those offensive rebounds. Of course, once they box you out, it doesn't really help you. But when you think your guy's going to put up the shot, if you wanted to get to the basket, it helps you in that situation, where you get in front of the guy and you could box them out as opposed to them boxing you out. And the reason why I wanted the two playmaking badges, guys, is because I really feel like you want break starter on this build. Now you could do other ones. You could do bullet passer, needle threader, post playmaker as well, unpluckable. You could do any of those if you wanted, but I feel like this build, this works really really well for it, and I think because you're going to be getting a lot of those defensive rebounds, and this improves the player's ability to make effective outlet passes after grabbing a rebound. So it just makes the most sense to have that, right? Now, guys, here you're going to have so much to work with, right? Um, so you're going to do Intimidator on Hall of Fame, Chase Down Artist, Hustler on Silver. Um, you want to do Rim Protector, Rebound Chaser, and you could do Post Lockdown all on Hall of Fame if you wanted. You could do Brick Wall. Went over a little bit too far. You could do Brick Wall. You could do that on Hall of Fame if you wanted. You could do Box on Hall of Fame. Then you could also do Clamps as well. On that, you could do Interceptor. You could do Pick Dodger. It's really. I don't think you'll need Pick Dodger on this one though, guys. You could do Worm. But the way that I did it with this build, guys, is I put Clamps on gold, and that's more or less because when you're playing against an opposing big man, if you have clamps, you'll force them to pick the ball up on defense, or if you do happen to get switched out on a guard in a pick and roll situation, it helps you in being able to stay in front of that guard and things like that. So it really does help. So that's a good badge to have with this build. So you want Box, you want Brick Wall, you want Intimidator, Rim Protector, Rebound Chaser, and Post Lockdown. You want all of those on Hall of Fame. Now if if you're not playing against someone that does a lot of post, you could take that off and you could put it on Interceptor if you wanted to. Pickpocket, it's whatever you choose to do, guys. Really, it's how you play it. But I feel like for this build, you definitely want Box, you want Brick Wall, Intimidator, Rim Protector, and Rebound Chaser, all on Hall of Fame. Okay, that's just how it is. You could work with the other ones, whatever suits your play style. But I really feel like you want those on Hall of Fame to make it a good Bill Russell build. But with that being said, guys, there you have it. I think that's a pretty solid Bill Russell build. This exact build, guys, I will tell you, this is the build that I play with, right? A pure red center. I love it. It's so much fun. It's one of my favorite builds. It was one of my favorite builds in 2K21 as well. I just kind of carried it over to 2K22. It's just so much fun to to play with for me. It's just and it's if that's a build that you like, you'll really enjoy this style, right? That's all I'm going to say. But with that being said, guys, if you're someone that you enjoy those legends of the game, the guys from the 60s through the early 2000s, I would definitely recommend subscribing to the channel. And if you could posterize that like button, guys, it would greatly help me out. I would appreciate it so much. But with that being said, have a wonderful evening, night, day, wherever you are. Have a good one.